Welcome to this introductory Phytech tutorial for corn growers. We start at the Phytech homepage, www.phytech.com. Select the login button in the top right corner. Enter your username and password, then sign in. Your dashboard or overview page is an active geospatial interface that centres on your farming operation where the Phytech service has been deployed. Let's start with a quick look around. You may notice other tabs in the top banner, but in this tutorial we will mainly focus on the overview page. Click on your initials in the top right corner and you will find the language options, terms of service, privacy policy and logout button. The weather widget below displays the forecast temperature and evapotranspiration, or ET for short, for your farm location. Hover your mouse cursor over the weather widget to open the 4-day forecast. The key benefit of Phytech is that it uses plant-based sensors and crop-specific algorithms to calculate the daily plant stress, which is represented by a simple colour spectrum. Click on the colour legend at the bottom right corner to learn about the various stress states. Red indicates high plant stress, orange is mild stress, yellow low stress, light green no stress, and dark green indicates a potentially saturated state. The single centre pivot shown here has two Phytech sensor systems deployed in it. One in the north, represented by this small yellow circle, and one in the south, represented by this small orange circle. The colour of each of these small circles represents the stress at those points. Phytech then fill the rest of the pivot with the colour of the most stressed point, orange in this case. The line through the circle represents the last recorded position of the pivot. A black line represents a pivot that was not operating and a white line represents a pivot that was operating. Click on the centre pivot and a pop-up window opens showing the historical stress status on a timeline. Each colour block represents a daily stress colour. Roll up with the mouse wheel or click on the location name in the top left corner to show more information, including the historical weather, trunk diameter graph and soil moisture graph. You can change the duration of the view or move up and down the timeline. In this example, I only have 11 days of data to share with you. Toggle between the south and north systems using the buttons to see their relative stress history. Hold your mouse cursor over the stress block of any particular day and a black indicator shows where that stress day sits on the spectrum in more detail. These last 2 days are both yellow, but one is closer to green and the other is closer to orange. Phytech take 2 daily measurements from the trunk diameter graph and display them below. One is MDS, maximum daily shrinkage, and the other is growth. Both of these measurements are in microns. Click on the little question mark that pops up next to the growth label and you can learn more about these measurements. Move your cursor across the page and you can see the hourly trunk diameter and soil moisture readings. This can be useful if you want to quickly calculate your own growth rates over any given period. Let's take a look at another example. Here you can see the bar representing the pivot position is white, indicating it is irrigating. The blue halo around the field represents the path of the pivot in its last irrigation cycle. In this example, both points in the field are indicating the same low stress level, yellow. I click on the southern point and see the pivot passed here on Tuesday morning, indicated by the blue bar on the timeline. Clicking on the northern point, I can see it last received irrigation the previous Tuesday morning, also based on the blue bar position. I will finish this tutorial with a quick look at the irrigation planning tool. This option may or may not be available to you, and it requires a minimum of 2 weeks of data to operate. The self-learning algorithm behind this feature considers your irrigation events, historical plant status and ET, along with the ET forecast to predict the plant stress status in the coming days. You can see the predicted status on the future days in the timeline, or by selecting any given day in the top banner. It makes a presumption that you don't plan to irrigate during these days. If you only remember one thing after watching this tutorial, let it be this. The Phytech interface is secure and read-only. You cannot delete or alter any of your data, and all of your settings return to default when you log out. Thanks for watching and enduring my Aussie accent.